Good morning. Eric Francis here, checking in from eastern Connecticut on the way out to Block Island later on today. I decided it was a good time to get out of town for a few days. Somewhat miraculously, we have full publishing tonight. I have an article which is a tribute to my canines, Jonah, Kelly, Francis, and Henrietta St. Francis, and a horoscope, a little light on the astrology. So I thought, though I wasn't planning it, I would do a STARCAST for you. Opening the chart, incredibly discovered that the moon's position is exactly in my ascendant to the arc minute. That's exact to 1 part per 23,000. So that's impressive. Moon is in Cancer right now. It is the 2nd of November, Day of the Dead in many different traditions. I consider all of these days, starting on the 30th of October, to be the kind of time to connect with the ancestors and to, in a sense, to be in both worlds at once. It certainly seems true that the veils that seem to separate the different bardos, the different spheres of existence, the different intervals of possibility are the thinnest at this time. And here we are with this very watery chart. Again, Moon, Cancer. Where I am at, Libra is rising. The asteroid Pallas Athene keeps showing up. Pallas is right on the south node in Libra, about to form an opposition to Eris on the north node in Libra. We need to be paying attention right now to matters of legality and of justice, of governance. I just watched a video last night compiling information on this World Health Information Treaty that would be essentially governments granting the power of running society to a private corporation located in Geneva. The World Health Organization is nothing but a private corporation. It is connected to the United Nations, and we saw what happened when a memo went out from the World Health Organization back in March of 2020. The idea of losing national sovereignty is a very serious problem. It is related to you losing personal sovereignty. And as is true of most things these days, this is a secondary effect of digital conditions, which are blowing away all boundaries and seeming things that keep this being this and that being that. And we need to have this be this and that be that. We need to have me be me and you be you and the United States be the United States and Canada be Canada, because there need to be boundaries. And so this lack of boundaries is a digital effect, but I am concerned looking at Pallas Athene, the very sigil of governance and of the power of the law to work for society, not against society, moving into this opposition aspect with Eris. It's going to happen in a couple of days. Really, it happens over the weekend. And by now, we're all familiar with the term giving your power away. And the thing with giving your power away is that most of the time you don't know that you're giving your power away, or you have enough information to put that together, but you don't act on that information. One situation with the times that we're in right now is that belief has become a kind of religion. People are obsessed with what they believe, and they mistakenly believe that merely because they believe something, that something must be true. And this creates a whole diversity of biases, but once you're using the word believe or using the word convinced, you can be sure that it is that the facts have left the room, and that anything that contradicts one's beliefs or one's convictions is likely to be ignored or thrown out. Okay, so let's change back to another astrological topic. We have an extraordinary Scorpio sky right now. Sun, Mars, Mercury, Ceres, all grouped in Scorpio. There's other smaller bits that are there. I believe one of them is Apollon. That was conjunct the Sun at the time of the eclipse on Saturday afternoon. Of course, we are still reeling from that eclipse. The world vibrates like it does after a major earthquake. From an eclipse, only the vibration is usually on the psychic level. Sometimes there are earthquakes that happen around eclipses, but there are lots of earthquakes the rest of the time. So we've got the moon picking up all of this Scorpio by trine. That will last through the day into the night on Thursday and then into Friday. Now, providing some stability, and I'll get to it, is providing some instability, but what is providing stability is the moon-sun contact. That's almost always helpful. Additionally, moon-Jupiter contact. Jupiter is in Taurus. And then moon-Venus contact. Venus is in Virgo. So we have Venus, the moon, and Virgo hanging out in what are called feminine signs, earth signs, or water signs. There is, though, an interesting pattern that is that I'm noticing right now, which is that it is an asteroid pattern. As I go further and further into astrology, seemingly never to come out, the asteroids become more interesting because they just do, and they form patterns. What I'm looking at when I'm reading is not individual placements. This is in that house and sign, that's in that house and sign, but rather I'm looking at the patterns that things make, and sometimes there can be 6 or 8 planets forming one pattern. And when I describe the individual bits, I'm just telling you about parts of the pattern that fit into a larger whole, and trusting that there'll be some of you who intuit this is all part of one thing. So the pattern I'm looking at right now is the moon, which is exactly in my Cancer ascendant. Now only it's about 3 arc minutes out, which is a sign of personal embodiment. And it's also important for astrologers to look for themselves and account for their own presence in any chart that we are reading. This way, you're not biasing the whole reading, making the entire chart about you, but instead you find yourself in one place in the chart. You find your viewpoint and tell the story perhaps from that viewpoint, or you change, but at least you know what you're doing, what viewpoint that you're in. So anyway, moon, Cancer, 6.5 degrees, opposite Pholus, Capricorn, 6.5 degrees. The moon is conjunct Vesta, 7.5 degrees. It is sextile Juno, 6.5 degrees of Virgo. So we've got a lot of stuff at 6, 7 right away. 1, 2, 3, 4 elements at 6, 7, not counting what I cannot see. And then the moon is approaching that sextile to Jupiter. Now, the moon is opposite, and I've talked about this a few times, and I would urge those of you who like to read and who are following the planets to keep this in mind, that what appears to be Pholus at 6 and change of Capricorn is actually Pholus and Quaoar. That is named for the creation god of the Tungva people in a big swath of Southern California, natives of a big swath of Southern California. Thank you to the person who sent me a video of the Tungva dancers. Tungva religion, and particularly the creation myth, if I have this right, through Phil Sedgwick. I've written to the chairman of the Tungva tribe, probably a busy dude, but maybe I'll hear back to confirm what I had learned from Philip Sedgwick, who did this initial research, that the Tungva dance themselves into existence. The ritual creation dance for the Tungva is dancing themselves into being. So this is a connection to the ancestors through dance, and then it is also conjunct Pholus, which is a connection to the ancestors through an intoxicating substance. That's how the message is conveyed with Pholus. It is a cask of wine that is then opened at some point in the 4th generation. So with Pholus, there's the story of opening things in the 4th generation. With Quaoar, conjunct Pholus, there's the story of dancing the tribe, the family, the human race. Tungva means people of the earth, dancing into existence. Also in this group is Cupido. That is one of those planets without a body, also known as a hypothetical planet. That's in there. And then Ixion, an ultra-slow mover, is hanging around there. And Ixion is something that has troubled me for a while, and that is because it is this representation of the amoral quality that humans can have. Absolutely no regard for what is right and wrong within the human community. To say that it represents a selfish influence is an understatement. It represents not only a selfish influence, but also a destructive and self-destructive influence. And the problem that we're facing at the moment is that it has become very fashionable to throw away all boundaries, to pretend that they don't exist, and then to also deny acquired knowledge. The digital realm, digital consciousness, the state of mind associated with digital is very hard on acquired knowledge. It's as if it does not exist, but of course it can exist, and it remains as beautiful as ever. Have some fun and pick up an old book and see what you learn by reading its pages. All right, let's wrap up. The moon's run through Cancer. That's as far as I'm going to go. I don't want to extend too far out into the future or make this too complicated, but the moon will be moving through Cancer for approximately today's Thursday, so all day Thursday, all day Friday, and part of Saturday. That will pick up many of these points and the feminine signs, ending with Moon square Chiron, Moon square the lunar nodes, and Eris. That happens over the weekend. That, by the way, is I picked up I always read the Sally Brompton horoscope in the New York Post. That's where I learned astrology from her teacher, Patrick Walker. So Sally and I had the same teacher because if not for Patrick, I wouldn't believe it was even possible to read astrology in a coherent, meaningful, and friendly way. And so for Pisces, Sally wrote today, something could happen between now and the weekend that makes you wonder if the way you look at the world is the right way. More than most signs, you are sensitive to changes of a subtle nature. So stay alert because there are unseen forces at work. And what I think she's talking about is this lunar pattern, which I've been talking about now for the last 20 minutes or so, which ends with moon square the lunar nodes, moon trine Neptune, moon opposite Pluto. That's the revelation. That's the discovery that another point of view is possible. There will be no Planet Waves FM this week. I am doing my best to lay low. This will be my last official act in office before I head out to Block Island, someplace I've always wanted to go. I'm exploring the Rhode Island coast for a few days and planning to return to Kingston on Monday. And if I can get my energy aligned and all of that, I will have for you the Scorpio Studio reading Sweet Season. Also, we're announcing pre-sale today of Somewhere in Between, the 2024 annual edition of Planet Waves. We're doing pre-sale today through the weekend of the prepared annual reading plus in-person or telephone consultation. Those will mostly take place in January and February, but I thought I'd offer an option where you get the annual and then also get to speak with me for an hour or so. All right, it is about 6:10 in the morning. I am mostly packed and getting ready to load the car, couple of cameras, a guitar, couple of pairs of socks, and head east out the coast to Block Island, Rhode Island. Thanks for listening. Thanks for your love and kindness. Bye for now.